break, is there any extra message of empty the tank, you're about to get a nice little chunk of time off here?
Yes, there is. Plus, we need the points. Like I just said it to Brendan walking down the hall. Like I'm treating these next 5 games like it's playoffs because we need points. We're playing the 2 teams coming up here that we're fighting with for, playoffs, and like immediately fighting with is Calgary and Vancouver. We're playing them both in their building, so that's this week coming up. Then we got the Oilers again, and they're all big points. We got these 2 at home, and so that's how I'm going to treat them.
Blackwood's going in net tonight.
He is.
And Kale took maintenance yesterday. He was a little in and out today. Is he good to go for tonight?
Yeah, he's good.
With treating these next 5 games as playoffs, I mean, what do you hope to see out of the 2 new players as they continue to get more comfortable?
Yeah, I think I really like both of their games, and I love the second game from the Drury Wood Colton line. I want to see that again. Well, exactly what they did on the island. I want to see them play that way for the next 5. I can't say that I'm looking for more out of those guys. I'd like to see Marty shoot it a little bit more, and I think that line's got to find the back of the net with some of the opportunities that they've had. But I just think you stick with it like that. If they play the way they have over the last handful of games, that they will score. So it's not like I'm looking for major growth here. I like to see them continue doing what they're doing now that the initial bump of being here is gone.
I think it's been 4 or 5 games since Walensky came back. Have you seen, has the break, I guess, worked as intended?
I think he's been okay. Like he coughed one up with the New York Islanders game that cost us a big goal against, and it's that's one of the things that he's got to sort of fix and cure to make sure that he's not hurting our team. Like we have, it's going around the room and everyone kind of has their thing that we're paying attention to, because like some of our mistakes are costing us games right now, and unfortunately, like we can't live with that.
How do you think Nate has responded to all this? Everything in the last week. You were telling us yesterday that everyone's had time to digest it, but Mikko is a guy that he's played with pretty much for the last 10 years. How do you think he's adjusted in the last week?
I think he's been great. I think attitudinally, certainly, like again, like we've kind of been through, like it's sad to see Mikko go and all that, but I feel like as a leader of the team, you got it. Like you can still have those feelings and turn the page and move on and do what's productive for our team. I think he's done that, including taking Nekash under his wing and talking to him. There's lots of dialogue and conversation that he didn't need with Mikko that now he has with Nekash. They're talking about power play constantly. They're talking about their ozone shifts all the time. What's expected, what the demands are. Like I just feel like he's been a great leader since the trade. Not that he wasn't before.
Speaking of leadership, Cal McCartney, one of the alternate captains for Team Canada, obviously wasn't here for you guys. How have you seen him grow as a leader since he came into the league?
I think, and it's the way I would personally want it. Like he comes in as a, highly touted guy and comes in, has initial like immediate success, but was quiet, and he went about his business and let his play do the talking. And then over the years, as he, and keep in mind, he's been an elite player that whole time, okay? But he didn't, like, go out of his way to, make sure he was the voice in the room. Like, we've got strong leadership, older guys, but his voice has come along over the last few years. Super confident guy, but it's just there's a respectfulness of the way he goes about his business. It's why I think he's a great choice. Number one, he's going to be on the ice half the game in the games that he's playing there. He's a defenseman. The other guy, like you could name, probably Nate included, you can name any other guy on that team as assistant captain, right? But you got a guy that's going to play a lot, that is a strong leader, that leads by example, that's quiet, but when he needs to say something, he will. I think it's a really good sort of fit because you already have 2 forwards already named.
How does that top power play look different with Netches on it?
Yeah, in almost every way. Because, again, we talked about it yesterday. Were you maybe not there? Yeah, so we haven't had any right shots, number one. So now you've got – it was always lefties and no right shot in the middle. And so, like, now you've got – Nate on the one side, and him and Nekash can play that game. They can flip sides, but like you're just adding another right shot forward to the mix, which is kind of nice. So you can move them around in different ways, and I think it's, you know, something we've been lacking on our power play, because Mikko used to control the puck a lot on his side, and he has a lefty on the goal line, but then there's no right-handed shooter in the middle. I mean, I think ideally that's the way you'd like it, and you know, if you have Nate and Nekash, you have a lefty shooter in the middle, and so there's different ways to set it up. Guys play, you know, different teams are playing, you know, offhanded guys, like right shots on the right side and left shots on the left side. But it's definitely changed. It's going to change, and it has changed already. And we've liked some of the things we saw, especially in the Island or in the Ranger game. I thought it was outstanding. So, yeah, hopefully they continue to grow and find a rhythm, and they're going to get some movement and get creative a little bit with it here. So they've talked about a bunch of things that I think can help us.
A few more,
Is
guys.
there more responsibility or maybe pressure on Arturi Lehkonen with the departure of Mikko Rantanen from just a scoring perspective?
No, I mean, he's doing a pretty good job scoring when Mikko was here. I think it falls on everybody. You got to score enough goals to win. I don't have a number set in my head where it's like, okay, we got to score X amount of goals this season to be successful, because that's just not. It's not accurate, you know. You have to score enough goals on that particular night to win, and you got to repeat it 82 times and in the playoffs. So if you're not scoring a lot, you better make sure your checking's like really good. And I think the goal is to get your checking as good as you can possibly get it, and get your offense as good as you possibly get it, and then go, you know, play to that level 2 weeks at a time, times 4 in the playoffs, you know. So I think right now we're a little bit dry on the goal scoring department, so it kind of falls on everybody, you know, including our fourth line, third line, everyone involved.
Carolina's system is almost kind of looked at as a very defensive heavy system too. Is there any expectation from Nature's injury to kind of translate that into your style of play?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think every coach is talking about defending the right way and defending hard. Some teams are better at it than others. They're super aggressive in the way they play, but not just on the defending side of it, on the offensive side of it as well. But those two guys have kind of stepped right in our lineup and haven't had any problem with the transition on making defensive reads. And so it's kind of, there's a lot of similarities, even though there's some differences to it in the D zone and off face-offs and whatnot. But I think, I talked with Drury yesterday, and he feels really good. He didn't even have any questions on it. I went through his tape. He hadn't made any mistakes on it. So far, so good.
Last one, Colleen.
The Blues are kind of struggling, obviously, but they're still a Central Division rival. What are you kind of focused on in this game tonight against them?
Well, it depends what you mean by struggling. Because like I look at analytics and I look at like theirs might be struggling a little bit to get results as we are, but I think like there's a lot of numbers there that I think you got to be careful of. It's a dangerous offensive team. They've been really good on the defensive side of it. I mean, some of their numbers are better than ours. Some of ours are better than theirs. So like it's go time. You got to go prove it on the ice, and so someone needs to get the results tonight. I'm sure hoping it's us.